lot of veterans in the room. We appreciate your service to your country, but in particular, there's one veteran I just wanted to mention because he's just returned from Afghanistan and Iraq, and that is Todd Angel. Todd, where are you? Stand up, Todd. Father's dream and his dream was to meet Senator McCain, and so we're here today. He's earned a Silver Star for meritorious service. For our Gold Star mothers, we're obviously honored to be here as well. So this is a great day to celebrate our veterans, to get Linda McMahon elected to the United States Senate. Yeah! Welcome. This time it's my pleasure to...
If he was our commander-in-chief, countries around the world would not dare attack our consulates and kill our ambassador. Did you know that in the year 2000, a Vietnam veteran running for Congress in eastern Connecticut closed the gap with a 20-year incumbent until he was publicly identified in the local newspaper as a war criminal. And the people that promised to come up to help me in my campaign were reduced to just one person, one congressman, one senator, John McCain. Before the election, he took a chance on a fellow Vietnam veteran, and he came up and he stood up for me. And we expected 300 veterans at the Groton to London airport. We had over 1,000. We stood together. We beat a 20-year incumbent. We rallied the veterans community. We pushed back against the liberal media, and we won the biggest upset in American politics in the year 2000. And my friend, my colleague, my fellow veteran, John McCain, is back to do his magic one more time. Yeah!
Thank you, Rob. Thank you for your wonderful ringing endorsement and statement. I feel a bit like Zsa Zsa Gabor's fifth husband, who on our wedding night said, "I know what I'm supposed to do, I just don't know how to make it interesting." Thank you, Rob. I want to thank Mayor Mark Broughton. Mark, thank you for your great job as mayor. As you know, mayors have a very tough time. He's also a delegate to the Republican National Convention. I thank you, Mark. And I just, you know, mayors really have a tough time. There was some years ago, there was a woman in my campaign, wonderful Republican leader. Her name was Marcella Peters, and she was wonderful. And one night at 1 a.m. the phone rang, and I said, "Well," and she said, "John, this is Marcella." I said, "What is it?" She said, "I've got this terrific problem." I said, "What is it?" She said, "They're changing the garbage pickup in front of my home from Tuesday morning to Thursday morning." She said, on Wednesday night, I have Republican Women's Club meeting. I have to be up early on Thursday to be down at headquarters. And we talked for a while, and I said, "Well, Marcella, why don't you call the mayor of Chandler and discuss this problem that you have?" She said, "Oh no, I wouldn't want to bother an important man like that with an issue this trivial." So, Mark, I thank you, and I get it. And I was with Governor Romney, the next president of the United States, the other day. As you know, know, he was former governor of the state of Massachusetts, and it reminded me of the story of the two inmates in the chow line in the state prison. And one turned to the other and said, "The food was a lot better in here when you were governor." We tried that in Illinois. It didn't go over very well. I'm so happy to be here with Linda McMahon, the next senator from the state of Connecticut. There are two issues that affect this nation. One is national security, which she has a very great understanding of, and the other, of course, is our national security, which is at great risk under this feckless foreign policy by President Obama. It is disgraceful, and it's got to change. I thank you, Rob, for not mentioning that I was defeated in 2008. Thank you. Really, after I lost, I slept like a baby. Sleep 2 hours, wake up and cry. Sleep 2 hours. And I'd like... And I also, Rob, would also remind all of our fellow veterans, it doesn't take a lot of talent to get shot down. I was able to intercept a surface-to-air missile with my own airplane. I want to thank you for your service, young man. You're what America's all about. I think you would agree with me that your inspiration and mine to this day are these old geezers here sitting around here who also served and sacrificed to it, and we're a grateful nation for all of it. We thank you. I forgot to mention that when I graduated from the Naval Academy, I tried to get in the Marine Corps, but my parents were married. And so, until I had a son at 18, joins the Marine Corps, serves a year in Iraq, comes home and said, "Dad, you know, the Marine Corps is part of the Navy Department, the men's department." So, I agree with that. So I'm very proud to be with you all here. There's nobody that I enjoy more or appreciate more than those of us who have served. And we go back, I see Korea. I wonder if there's any of our greatest generation here today. Thank you, our greatest generation. I'd like to mention also that one of the most vital parts of our nation's defense is right here in Connecticut, and it's called the Electric Boat Company.
Hear, hear.
When I was a very young boy to spend time here in New London when my father was a submarine commander, which he was all during World War II. So I understand the enormous contributions that the state of Connecticut has contributed to our nation's defense, and they're still by far the best and most effective and incredible weapon systems is the submarines that are turned out there. And I know you're proud not only of the product, but of the men and women who serve there. Now, I don't want to make this too long, but I'm deeply concerned about our nation's security and why I think I need Linda as a person who will be a partner with me and others and President Romney in restoring our nation's prestige and strength throughout the world. I'll try to be brief. Right now, Iraq is unraveling. We've sacrificed over 4,000 brave young Americans' lives. I don't know how many thousands wounded, and all we had to do was leave a residual force behind. This president said the surge wouldn't work. This president wanted us out of Iraq. We're out of Iraq. And do you know what's happening? Al-Qaeda's on the way back, and you read every day the new attacks and the IEDs and Al-Qaeda's return. Today, as we speak, Iranian planes are overflying Iraq with weapons for Bashar al-Assad. In the words of General Keane, who was the architect of the surge, we won the war and we're losing the peace. In Afghanistan, my friends, you're seeing, and I know nobody knows this better than our fellow veterans, the worst blow to morale is have an ally in uniform killing you and killing your comrades. That is the worst thing that can happen. Why is it happening? Because this president only talks about withdrawal and leaving, withdrawal and leaving. The famous story of the Taliban prisoner and the American interrogator, and the Taliban prisoner says, "You got the watches, we've got the time." And that's exactly what's happening. Did you ever hear success or victory come out of this president's mouth? Of course not. It's withdrawal. He consistently overrode the recommendations of his military leaders, who they said puts the operation at greater risk. And now, my friends, I am deeply concerned about our ability to prevail there, because we did not have sufficient number of troops, and we didn't, and the overriding his military leaders and calling for withdrawals has been, I don't have to tell my fellow veterans, the object of going to a country is to have success, not to announce dates of withdrawal. So in Libya, my friends, we lost 4 brave Americans, our ambassador Chris Stevens. The security wasn't there, and that will come out over time. But maybe as importantly, for the administration to trot out our UN ambassador 5 days after it happened and say that it was a spontaneous demonstration is an insult to the intelligence of every veteran in this room. There was mortars, there was rocket-propelled grenades, there was heavy weapons in a very well carried out operation and orchestrated. And for anybody to suppose that people bring mortars to spontaneous demonstration shows a fundamental misunderstanding of warfare, yet they stuck to it for 5 days. Finally, could I just say, I'm not for sending Americans into harm's way unless there's a need to. But I can also say that we shouldn't be going to Libya, and we should not be putting, to Syria, and we should not be putting boots on the ground there. But there have been 25,000 people who have been massacred by Bashar Assad, and we won't even give them weapons with which to have a fair fight. While Russian weapons fly, while Iranians are on the ground, and there is the worst kind of atrocities being committed by Bashar al-Assad. The perception in the Middle East is that the United States is weak and withdrawing. Osama bin Laden once said, there's a strong horse and a weak horse, and people will go with the strong horse. We are viewed as the weak horse. That's why we need new leadership in Washington, D.C. That in the last 4 years, the debt has gone from $10 to $16 trillion. We need people who understand in Washington what it's like to meet a pay